Hey, what's going on, Touré?
What's happening, bro?
Another brain dump, man. Just some interesting things going on in the world of in the world period, but specifically in the world of AI, where where things are concerned. And I think the most recent thing I kind of talked to you about it this morning, or brought it up this morning. I wanted to jump on and talk about is the fact that Microsoft, another layoff, just laid off 4,800 people, but they were pretty specific in what they were doing. It's in part their Xbox division. For those of you that don't know, Xbox is their competitor to Sony PlayStation, just like iPhone and Android. And then the rest of it is their sales team, which kind of ties directly into what we do at Eckroth. And so I thought it was very interesting to kind of talk about it from your perspective from the tech side, and then obviously I'll share mine, and then we'll kind of ping pong back and forth and just have a dialogue about it that hopefully everybody can benefit from.
Yeah, man, I think it's unfortunate on a lot of fronts. And I don't know if the move to let people go was, it appears on the outside as strategic from a person who thinks as a business owner first, and then think as a tech person second. I look at it as hopefully they had enough data to make that choice and it made sense. But what I've found, even large organizations don't even know their numbers. And I find that to be interesting because as a person who's in a space, who's a fan of helping organizations concentrating on standing up and leveraging AI. I think people who should stop looking at AI as a tool and start looking at it as data. They need to start looking at it as a data company. And because right now it can give you so much more insight on how not only the people that you're working with, not only how people perceive you, not only how how you can truly impact and also understand if the service that you're offering are profitable. Like, and if you're not necessarily like, just because something is large, don't necessarily mean it has great margins. And so you could be tracking and doing things that have you being busy and you thinking that, hey, I need to go spend more money on sales. I got to do advertising. I got to do all these things. And I think, so that's one thing. But if I'm someone who's a worker and I'm an asset to another company, and I'm concerned about, will my company let me off or let me go? Something I want to just speak to you about is that we are in a day now that you have to identify your value add. And instead of running away from this, understand it is here. And there's a lot of mixed emotions around AI on a lot of different fronts, man. And I feel like what's encouraging more and more is that people have to understand how they can utilize it to their good before it takes off. And I'll kick it back over to you, but I think this is the cheapest time that you can use technology. And those who are playing in the space are starting to see the cost continue to rise. So in order for people to be extremely successful of knowing where they are and where they're going, at least let something grab information for you so you can have a full idea about your choices versus looking at it at the glass and be like, oh man, this glass is half empty. Well, there could be an opportunity that if you did get to decide to get let go by AI, maybe you can come in and actually start being paid by it. So there's an opportunity there for those who may have gotten cut. I'm sorry for those people for sure, but this is a great time for them to kind of see how they can increase their value at.
Yeah, it's never a good thing for individuals when obviously they have to be let go, because especially in these times when things are just getting increasingly more expensive and more challenging financially. The For me, I see it as a wake up call on a number of fronts, because I, I I wholeheartedly think that most people don't really want to stay in a 9 to 5. So it's a means to figure out how you can leverage AI if you do want to stay in that 9 to 5 to increase your value add, so that as they do implement AI, you can be on the forefront of it and figuring out how to leverage it to enhance your value to the company, like you alluded to before, because they're letting people go in favor of the things that it can do. And if you can say, wait a minute, or bring it to them and say, here's what I can do with it to enhance my value, to solidify my position in the company, then you're proactive, you're ahead of the curve, and maybe you're the one that champions the AI integration into those respective departments, and not only save your job, but preserve the jobs of others around you, because it's really about increasing revenue and strengthening margins. And if you're able to increase your capacity, which is really all AI does, it's an extension of you. The fact that it's artificial, it's human made anyway, as an extension of you. So you should be able to be able to leverage it and utilize it to enhance your overall value to the company. And the second thing is the other portion of it is their sales team, which is one of the things that we speak directly to, and what it can do for your sales process, from identifying your ideal client, figuring out kind of what they're saying, what they're talking about, what their pain points are, positioning yourself to provide them with the solution, and then standing up workflows and things alike to nurture those relationships, or to position yourself and create opportunities to develop additional solutions for them that they may have identified, or
Yeah.
that they may not have even identified yet. So there's a
Yeah.
number of things there, and the fact that these things are available to you readily puts you on an even playing field with some of the largest corporations in the world, because it's open
Man,
to everybody now.
Man, you speaking facts, bro. And I'll put it to you like this. Look, there's only a few handful of organizations that are actually having some serious weapons with AI. That's government, anything contractual with government. Everybody else is playing from the same playing field. And a lot of these organizations that are actually letting people go are using information that they think they have inside information about, and they don't even realize how they're even using it. Hell, they've been using, most of these organizations got Copilot, and their organizations ain't even using that. So letting people go and say, I'm about to just start using these agents, well, they're going to need somebody who's going to actually, one, run those agents. Two, they're going to need somebody to be able to assist them with understanding how to keep the cost down. Now, if you've been using these AI models like we all have, you're going to find out there's a lot of issues with them. We're eventually going to be, a lot of things going to be eliminated, but it still requires people. That's first and foremost. I think that's all was interesting because we just came out of a workshop or a challenge, man, and what we were interested about, it's shocking to me how many people are using these tools and don't even know the cost of the tool that they're using. I think it's even shocking that people are actually spending multiple dollars on multiple tools for AI and don't even recognize that most of it is grounded by the same large language model. Like I'm using voice, but that's ran by Claude, right? Or so you think about it for a moment, like people are overpaying. And one other thing I thought it was interesting too, just bringing it back to our conversation around people. Look, I really feel like individuals are so valuable that they've gotten washed out by not just social media, but now another item of a tool to be like, oh man, I'm not that valuable. Like a conversation, someone say, I don't like AI. Like, why? It's taking people's jobs. And that's a real thing. And I'm not discrediting that. But it sounds like it's like I've been listening to the news, or I've been listening to my neighbor. I've been listening to what the TV is saying. But you and I both know AI been around since what, 1950? It's been around for a minute,
Yeah.
right? They just made it available to us for the last 3 or 4 years. And since it's available to us all of a sudden, what do we do? It's
No, not just made it available to us, they just put it in our face in the last 3 to 5 years. It's been available to us. Like, how long have we been asking Siri?
Yeah,
How long has Netflix been suggesting movies for us, like, suggested for you, like, or the For You page on TikTok or Instagram? Like,
yeah.
all that is AI.
Yeah, yeah, that's good, bro. And I think I think the analogy I like to use when it comes to AI. I like to use your analogy. I think it's really dope. Like I don't know if people who are listening in multiple platforms, man, that we got live going on, but you got Blockbuster. If you knew, like I knew about Blockbuster, that used to be the thing when
I
we was
worked
younger,
at
man.
Blockbuster. That's why that analogy came so natural. I
Oh,
used to
okay.
work
Well,
at Block that
listen,
was my second job.
man, when we had my youngest, my oldest son now, man, we would actually go. That would be our thing, man. On the weekends, we to Blockbuster, hoping that the movie that we want had enough of it for us to be able to take it, right?
Yeah,
Then they come around Redbox. Redbox is like, yo, Redbox
touchscreen.
is closer to the crib because it's at some place at a platform at a gas
Every
station.
CVS and grocery
Like,
store.
like,
Yes, yes.
hey, and if I keep it, it only costing me $1. I'm good. Like I'm
Yep.
Gucci, right? But
I got in
then
so much trouble for those Blockbuster late fees.
now all of a sudden we got Netflix. But what's interesting about Netflix is I've seen a pattern. The pattern that I'm finding is that everything is being self-served. So if I'm someone in a business, I need to start looking at my business as how do I self-serve? Like how do I self-serve? Because yes, people want to work with you. People, still want to have inner communications, but they've been bombarded for the last 6 years when we head into COVID, hitting text messages, people blowing up people's phones. People ain't even trying to answer the phones no more, man. Like they screening text messages now. Like the young people, like, yo, man, he kept me on red. Like, what that mean? Like, you can't leave me on red. Like, how dare
I
you?
was
Like,
so confused for like, does that mean that they read it and didn't respond, or does that mean that they didn't open it and it just says delivered?
listen,
I was
listen,
confused for a minute,
listen,
but I
man. Like, hey,
digress.
dad, I live, dad. You better. My kid's like, dad, you can't leave people on red. And I'm thinking also like, people are really pissed about that thing, right? But when you think about it, man, that's exactly what is happening in business right now. Like operational sales wise, people are self serving. Going into the grocery store, bro. Like, listen, I went into Aldi's,
I was
man.
mad. I hated that transition for a long
Bro, man,
time.
listen, man, I went into Aldi's recently, man, and it threw me a loop. Aldi is now making it self-serve for you to check out of Aldi's, right? And then, listen, they got this little bar, and you got to scan your dang on receipt to get out. I'm like, "Man, I can just step over this thing. Like, what are you talking about?" But that's where we are right now. And so
Yeah.
what do you think that they're doing? Guess what they're doing? They're collecting data. So I'm a big fan of people who are actually starting a business, but what I want them to start looking at is that become a data first business. As we were talking about this earlier, like, look, if you getting stuff in the mail, promotions, that means your information is being sold. Somebody made money off of you. You just think it's junk mail. No, people selling your information. So if you don't start looking at this AI as a means for you to start equaling out the playing field, so you can start being in a position where you can start using data for you and benefiting you, possibly turning individuals into look, you ain't got competition when you got data. Because you could turn around and use that same information to the people that you think is competition and turn it into an opportunity for you to make money off of. Because
Absolutely.
really, that's facts. And I think that's where I think it's important for people to start looking at is like, yes, it can be harmful. Yes, it can change and be disruptive, but it's only looked at from that one lens, then you may not see how it can be beneficial for you too. And I think that hopefully, individuals who've been impacted by, technology and look at it differently. And then I also think that business owners who think that replacing people is going to make them profitable. It's not.
Yeah. So,
Not
I
in,
mean,
not
let's
in the
go back
grand
to
scheme of it.
The Blockbuster to Redbox example for a moment. And we're gonna have to have a whole nother conversation about the data because the data reveals so much about your business where you go. But the Blockbuster, they had these buildings all over the country, this overhead, they're paying for the buildings, employees. Like I
Yeah.
said, I used to work for Blockbuster that are putting the movies back. All the things that went into Blockbuster that were eliminated when they transitioned to Redbox. Now you don't have any overhead, you just got a box. If you own a Redbox, because they were vending machines, you can buy a Redbox machine. Now it went from $3.50, $5 for a video to 99 cents to $1.99. And then, like you said, the late fee was only whatever it cost to rent it. So they're cutting costs because they got rid of all of this overhead, but their margins are still extremely healthy because none of that overhead exists. And if the DVD, God forbid, didn't play, then you got a free movie. It was an easy fix. So now you go to that model. Now you move to Netflix. First, Netflix was sending movies out. So they were using AI to either have you
Yeah.
create a list or they were saying that these are movies that you should consider. And when you put it in the mailbox, then they were sending out the next movie. And then it went completely digital. But the other thing that they did was it went from $3.50 to $5 to 99 cents to $1.99 to a subscription model.
Yeah.
Now you're paying for a monthly subscription for convenience that you hadn't even thought about before they
Bro,
put it in front of you.
bro, you just teed this up for me. You just teed this up. And it was a conversation I'm having with a guy who installs systems, HVAC systems. And it was interesting in the conversation that we were having that was amazing is that he thought because he was charging large numbers that this was a successful. So he's coming to us like, hey, man, I need more sales, my margins, we're plateauing. How do I grow this thing? And what was interesting in this conversation is that most people would have looked at, oh, let me just do lead generation. Let's just have this conversation. I'm like, nah, man, like, let's really figure out what you may be talking about a symptom. Let's look at the actual core problem. And what we identified in this conversation that was really explosive was the idea that his biggest ticket that he was excited and boastful about actually had the lowest margins. His maintenance, his subscription model actually was
Mm,
more profitable. So instead of him spending so much resources and running advertising dollars to something that doesn't bring him that much profit margins, because I'm still a firm believer, it's not about how much money you make, bro. It's how much money you keep. Because really, at the end of the day, like if you're an athlete and you taking 50% of their salaries, like, bro, These are high place, no disrespect. It got you there quicker. High price employees, man, that you got to cut half to the IRS, right? But in his case, for this business owner, we were able to see that his subscription model was the thing that was impacting. Like he's not sitting on that. He wasn't pushing that. So instead of putting another driver on the truck, I mean another driver on the road, instead of putting more advertising dollars to get more people in, how about we shift where you put your focus at? So putting your focus into having more subscriptions. So now he was able to keep his costs the same and put more money in his pocket. Data did that. AI did that. And this is what I mean when people don't recognize, man, it's way more than just let me get some babies talking on social media. Or like, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to anybody of that, but it's so much more. And I think that if we only position it as something that is negative, we won't really see the benefit to how we can utilize it. Hell, right now, what we're doing in our house, our family orders groceries online. My wife don't like to go inside, bro, and so what we've been doing is having AI look at all the things that we purchased and then
Mm,
offer recommendations to what we're missing from our last purchase. This is now moving from business to just personal. Like, how can I use this inefficiently in my home? Because she coming back, continue to keep buying the same damn condiments that we got like a slew.
you
Like, why
got
are we
a
still
catch-up
buying this,
collection?
man? I'm like, dude, man, groceries is too high to keep buying the same shit twice, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I feel like at the end of the day, man, we can do damage in that space, man.
No,
For
absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. Hey, if any of this makes sense or any of this is a conversation that you want to have about your business, you can reach out directly to Touré D. Young on Instagram. Find him on LinkedIn. Me, Wayne Runs on Instagram. Wayne M. Carr on LinkedIn. You can reach out to us at Touré at eckroftmedia.com, Wayne at eckroftmedia.com. Whatever makes the most sense to you, the easiest channel to communicate. We're just here to help and bridge the gap so that you understand that it doesn't have to be an intimidating process, an intimidating conversation, that you can stand your business up or integrate with confidence. And it's not really about learning the tools per se, especially the way that we do it. It's about essentially us learning your business and wrapping the tools around your business so that it can work the way that you work and really just drive the needle and move your business forward. So that sounds like something that you want to explore, want to talk about, then feel free to jump in, or you can jump into one of our webinars that we run on
Yeah,
Wednesdays at one
we
o'clock.
run workshops, man. Workshops, man, to show people how they can get their business to move and not be involved in it on a regular basis. Be able to talk to it, be able to go out and kick off things, man. Be out in the public space and have connections with people because I think that that's the value add. The more and more technology continues to increase, the more valuable people become. And I think
Absolutely.
that's
Humanity
the
is going to
evolution of
be a
life.
premium.
It's gonna be at a premium. So if you're not building communities, talk about communities that you own, not be renting. You know, I'm about ownership, about everything. So if you're not owning your community, it's gonna be tough because not only are you gonna be squeezed on the tech side, now you're gonna be competing and trying to fight for people's attention. And that's one of the
Right.
hardest things you could ever do. So listen, man, we plan on doing these more often. I just got on TikTok for the first time in a long time. I see I had a lot of people in here, man. So I appreciate the people who joined. I don't even know how to work this thing for real. I just said hit live, like boop. But my kids be like, bro, you gotta stop talking, stop living in the basement, man. You gotta start letting people know you exist. I'm like, well, hell, man, I like my privacy, man. But I do know there's a lot of misinformation out there, man. So I feel like there's some type of dual responsibility, man, to kind of start sharing this information. Because I guess what the parable say, man, you know, if the master come back and be like, "What did you do with my talent?" and you buried it, oh, you know what? Let me get that off of you right there. Let me take that from that talent from you and give it to somebody else who's gonna use it. So I definitely don't want God to take a talent from me, man. So I'm gonna do my best to be more diligent, more disciplined, and obviously more available for those so they can be more impactful for the people that they serve. So it was a pleasure connecting with you, bro. Until again, I'll see you again. And remember, bro, legacy focuses. No, I will say this: leverage helps you control. Control helps you build legacy. That's all we trying to do here at Ecroft. I'm gonna holler at you next time, bro.
Absolutely. Be well. We'll talk soon.